The future. Picture this, your favourite club gone. The Six Nations replaced. Test rugby, just a memory. And all of it wiped out by one shiny new idea that promises to save the game. It is called R360, a new global rugby competition being built as a franchise-style league. It is dripping in investor money, marketing buzz, and a touch of royalty thanks to Mike Tindall, a World Cup winner who has swapped the tackle bag for the boardroom. He swears it is rugby's future. The unions call it a wrecking ball with good PR. R360 wants to be rugby's Formula One, 8 men's teams and 4 women's teams jetting between Miami, Dubai, Tokyo and Cape Town. Short season, big money. Less burnout, they claim, while building an airline loyalty scheme for forwards. Fronting the hype train is Mike Tindall, World Cup winner, England hard nut, royal insider, now selling the dream of modern, global rugby. He says it will make the sport faster, fresher, louder, pulling in new fans and sponsors. The pitch is simple. Faster rugby, fresher players, bigger crowds. But under the gloss lies a question rugby has not faced in a century. Can a private league truly save the game? Or will it break it apart? Because a sport is not just a schedule and a broadcast window, it is identity, rivalry, and a sense that your local colours matter in a way no marketing deck can describe. Rugby has always been more than a product. It is the anthem nerves before kickoff. The bloke in a beanie who has stood in the same cold seat for 20 years. The juniors in oversized jerseys who dream of being called up. If 360 gets it wrong, the game may look shinier on the outside and emptier on the inside. That is the fear hiding behind the fireworks. Why it exists. R360 did not come from nowhere. It was born from rugby's mess. For years, the sport has lived on borrowed time and borrowed money. Worcester, Wasps, London Irish, gone. The Premiership has lurched from bailout to bailout. Super Rugby has been tugged between time zones, travel costs, and politics. TV money is shrinking in some markets and the calendar looks like a puzzle no one can solve. Players are exhausted, unions are broke, fans complain that the world's best barely meet outside of World Cups. A club season can feel endless and fragmented, while international windows clash with domestic momentum. Even the highlight moments like European knockouts or a Bledisloe decider struggle to cut through the noise of other sports that package their drama more clearly. So a group of investors, backed by entrepreneurs and a few famous ex-players, looked at the chaos and said, what if we strip away the bureaucracy, take the best players, and sell rugby as a global spectacle? If you have ever watched the way Formula One transformed itself for new audiences, you can see the inspiration. A tight calendar, bold destinations, all-star casts, and storylines delivered in bingeable arcs. And honestly, their diagnosis is not wrong. Rugby does need clarity, sustainability, and excitement. It needs events that feel like events, not just fixtures buried on page 3 of the sports section. But fixing a community sport with a corporate blueprint rarely works. History shows that when you treat passion like product, the heart usually fades faster than the profits. The challenge is to make rugby easier to understand without making it impossible to love. R360's believers think you can keep the soul and add the shine. The skeptics say soul and shine do not share a wardrobe. The truth is probably somewhere in the messy middle, but the risk is simple. If you tilt too far towards spectacle, you lose the roots that feed the tree. And roots are not something you can replant after a bad season. The rebellion. The old guard did not stay silent for long. Within days of R360's proposal going public, rugby's biggest unions, England, New Zealand, South Africa, France, Ireland, Australia, Scotland, and Italy, lined up behind a single threat. Play for 360 Rand and you will never wear your country's jersey again. Bang. No test caps, no World Cup, no anthem moments. You will be watching from your sofa, not standing on the halfway line. 8 unions, 1 hard line. That is not a gentle warning. That is a locked door with a very clear sign on it. Even World Rugby refused to bless it. R360 applied for official approval, then quietly withdrew. They called it bad timing. Everyone else called it a red flag. Because sanctioning is not a formality, it is protection. It ensures player safety, calendar balance, and eligibility. Without it, you are a rogue operation. 360 calls that independence, World Rugby calls it chaos. Behind the scenes, coaches and high-performance staff are caught in the middle. If a star fly half signs a private deal, do you build a national game plan around someone you might never be allowed to pick again? Do you gamble on a young scrum half who bleeds for the jersey but has never run a knockout quarterfinal? This is not just politics. It is selection, cohesion, and the difference between winning a series and rebuilding for 3 years. And for players, the message is brutally simple. You can do the tour or you can do the tour bus, but you will not be allowed to do both. Cash or country. R360 sells freedom. Shorter seasons, fat checks, global stages. It sounds perfect until you look closer. The moment you sign, you are out. No caps, no Lions tours, no anthem tiers. You trade history for a contract. That might feel worth it in January, but how does it feel when your mates sing the anthem in July and you hear it from a hotel room in Miami? You can buy the lights, but you lose the legacy. You are not representing your country anymore, you are repping a brand. Cash now or jersey forever. That is the deal. And that is the hook. Because for every player who dreams of representing their nation, there is another who just wants to pay their mortgage before their knees give up. Careers are short, bones break, bills do not wait. Legacy is not only medals in a cabinet. It is the phone call to your grandparents the night you debut. It is the primary school that invites you back because kids watched you in the World Cup. It is the way your name sounds when a stadium sings it in your language. Contracts end. Those moments stay stitched to your name in a way money never can. Some will take the money, no judgment. Others will see it for what it is, a golden handcuff. Because once you walk away from your national team, you do not just lose a contract. You lose that moment every kid dreams about. And once that door closes, it rarely opens again.
The fallout if R360 launches, World Rugby changes overnight. Imagine a Six Nations stripped of its stars.
The Box without Khaleesi, the All Blacks without Savea, England without Itoje. That is not tradition, that is Tuesday training. Rivalries that feel eternal suddenly look like pre-season friendlies because the headline names are elsewhere. Crowds shrink, broadcasters panic, sponsors whisper, contract review. And when the top cracks, the rest crumbles. Rugby's finances flow downward. Money from tests and TV deals keeps the clubs and grassroots alive. When that flow stops, clubs lose stars, lose fans, and lose hope. A season tickets graph that used to look like a staircase starts to look like a ski slope. There is also the intangible. A test week owns a country in a way no private franchise can. Talk radio, school assemblies, pub chatter, everyone knows there is a game on Saturday. If those weeks lose their glow, the halo around the sport dims everywhere. That halo is why a non-rugby fan will still watch a World Cup final. You cannot buy that with a DJ and a drone shot. Accountants start using the word insolvent again. The pyramid collapses from the top down. The Champions Cup, domestic leagues, academy funding, everything that relies on the gravity of international rugby begins to drift. R360 says it is saving rugby, but if international rugby dies, what exactly is left to save? The ripple effect. When the big stage falters, the foundations follow. The Premiership, URC, Top 14, Super Rugby, already walking financial tightropes. Now imagine those leagues without their headline acts. Fans drift, networks pull funding. Clubs that once inspired towns become footnotes. A fixture that once sold out on tradition begins to discount on Tuesday and hope for walk-ups by Friday. Below that, grassroots rugby takes the hit. Youth coaches are cut, tours are cancelled, parents are footing every bill just to keep the lights on. The next DuPont or Colby looks at football or basketball instead. Not because they love rugby less, but because they see a clearer path somewhere else. Role models do not just score tries, they recruit the next generation by existing in the right jersey at the right time. Even the women's game, the one area finally thriving, risks collateral damage. R360 promises equality, 4 women's franchises, big paydays. It sounds brilliant until calendars collide. If R360 overlaps the WXV, the World Cup, or national leagues, momentum dies instantly. You cannot fly to Tokyo on Monday and play a test on Friday. You cannot empower progress by derailing it. A mistimed calendar can erase 5 years of growth in 5 careless weeks. There is also the community piece. Women's rugby has grown because unions, clubs, schools, and volunteers built ladders that reach from a mini festival to a World Cup squad. A private detour that does not link back to those ladders is not a highway. It is a cul-de-sac with great lighting. Pretty, but it does not go anywhere.
Who owns rugby? Follow the money and you will find the motive. R360's decks flash billion-dollar projections, investor buzz, and streaming gold. But rugby has heard that tune before. Big promises look great on a keynote slide and feel different when the first downturn hits and the first cost-cutting memo arrives. When ticket sales dip or sponsors flinch, what happens? In union rugby, the losses spread through the system. In private rugby, they land squarely on the players. The backers walk, the staff go unpaid, the players hold the bag. And a collapsed league does not rebuild your career or refund your test jersey. Ask any athlete who signed the shiny thing that vanished before season 2. But there is a deeper layer: control. Owning the top players means owning the headlines, the calendar, and the heartbeat of the game. If a private league controls kickoff times, player appearances, and media rights, it indirectly controls what remains for everyone else. That is why unions are fighting so hard. Once control leaves their hands, it rarely comes back. R360 calls it innovation. Everyone else calls it what it is: a power grab in a designer suit. Governance sounds boring until it changes your Saturday. Who protects the head contact protocols when the person who writes your check also writes your schedule? Who enforces a stand down after a concussion when there is a sponsor activation on the line? In a well-run system, the medical team wins those debates. In a poorly run one, the marketing team does. And finally, data. The more a private outfit owns player data, GPS, impacts, medical notes, the more leverage it has over contracts and careers. Data is power, and power rarely behaves like a neutral party once the numbers can be used at a negotiating table. The player dilemma. For the players, this is the toughest call of their lives. R360 dangles freedom, money, and glamour. Their countries offer meaning, legacy, and pride. One buys you a house, the other writes your name into history. Most careers last less than a decade at the top. Your knees get a vote, and they are not known for subtlety. So can anyone really blame a player for chasing a bigger check? But before signing, every player should ask, who guarantees the contract? Who pays if investors vanish? Who covers your rehab when your body gives up? If a private season collapses in April, do you have match fitness, insurance cover, or even eligibility to rejoin your old club? These are not theoretical questions. They are the difference between a graceful retirement and a bitter one. A national cap lasts forever. A franchise deal barely survives tax season. In the national setup, you become part of a lineage. Names you grew up saying, shirts you grew up loving. In a private setup, you become part of a project. Slick logo, better soundtrack, and a shelf life tied to quarterly reports. If you are 22, the project looks exciting. If you are 30, you start to wonder where the testimonials will come from when the music stops. None of this is to say that choosing R360 makes you a villain. It makes you human. But heroes in rugby are built by moments that a private calendar cannot replicate. A series decider in a hostile stadium. A World Cup knockout where your country needs you to make a tackle you will feel for the next decade. Those are the clips that play at your testimonial. Those are the stories you will still tell when your voice goes soft and your hair goes grey. The warning. R360 calls itself the future.
Maybe it is, but sometimes the future is not progress, it is a warning. Rugby does need fixing. The finances, the calendar, player welfare. The sport cannot just survive on tradition and goosebumps. It needs better storytelling, smarter seasons, and real protection for bodies that are asked to do too much. But you do not rebuild a cathedral with a wrecking ball. Protect the jersey, protect the pathway, build new rooms if you must. Just do not bulldoze the foundations. The people who stand in the rain in November do not come for light shows. They come for belonging, for the belief that their colours connect to something bigger than a brand. If R360 truly wants to help, it can still choose partnership over piracy. Get blessed. Respect test windows. Guarantee independent medical power. Share revenue with the systems that nurture the talent you want to showcase. Build beside the house, not through its kitchen. If you do that, you might actually save rugby. If you do not, you might just sell a great launch and a quick ending. Because once rugby's soul is gone, no amount of marketing can bring it back. And if the soul stays, the rest can be fixed. Calendars can be cleaned. Budgets can be rebuilt. Young players can be guided with wisdom instead of hype. The game deserves that patience. The jersey deserves that respect. If you enjoyed this, there is plenty more rugby content in the works. I would greatly appreciate it if you could like and subscribe so I can keep uploading. Thanks for watching.